Let me start, Governor Granholm, with the auto bailout. It failed in the Senate this week. There may be some hope for the White House for the big three. What went wrong?
You know, I think that we didn't do a good enough job explaining to citizens across the country what a failure of the automobile industry would mean for America. Obviously, with the ramifications across the country, with all of the jobs, 3 million jobs. I don't know that people felt it. I think the timing was bad because it came on the heels of the financial industry bailout. But I also do think that there was an issue there, according to the Los Angeles Times, who saw a missive that was sent out on Wednesday to the Senate Republicans that it was an opportunity to go after the unions, too. So I think there was a collection of things.
You actually had some very strong comments about this during an interview on WJR radio in which you talked about why this failed. Let's listen to that.
What do we elect these people in Congress for, if not to protect our citizens? And all they have been doing, the Republicans in the Senate, have been protecting the foreign companies that are in their borders. They're not acting as Americans.
Not acting as Americans. That's a pretty tough language.
Well, why are other countries helping their auto industry right now? It's because they see it as a critical national need. We have a national need in this country. It's not like any other industry. The auto industry is going to be the industry that enables us to be independent of Middle Eastern oil. This is the industry that's going to lead us to the electric vehicle, to energy independence. So if we don't have an auto industry, that's an American domestic auto industry, not only does it mean 3 million jobs lost, not only does it mean that we're going to have to pay the cost of the cleanup of the bailout, which is, by the way, about $150 billion to the taxpayers, because you'll have more people on unemployment, more people needing health care and all of that. So not only will you have that, but you also will not have the ability to have an industry that leads us to energy independence. We'll be replacing our reliance on foreign oil with a reliance on foreign batteries, because it's the battery that's going to be driving the electric vehicle in the future.
Governor Romney, you've been outspoken about this as well, and you've got some personal experience with this. Your father, of course, an auto executive. You came out against a bailout. Are you glad to see that it stalled?
Well, I am glad to see that the proposal that was made by the chief executives of the big three didn't get accepted. They basically came to Washington saying, give us a check so we can continue to fund business as usual.
$14 billion is what they were.
Well, and originally wanted a lot more than that. And I'm glad to see there was some progress made over the ensuing weeks. But frankly, I think all Americans agree that we want a domestic automobile manufacturing sector. We don't want to see this go away. We don't want to lose those jobs. And we believe that long-term it's important for General Motors, Ford, and Chrysler to survive, to grow, ultimately to thrive, and create more jobs. The question is, what's the best way to do that? Right now, those companies suffer about a $2,000 per automobile cost disadvantage. Part of that is labor, part is benefits, and part is a legacy cost associated with retirees. As long as that $2,000 disadvantage is on their back, they can't be competitive. They'll keep losing share. They'll ultimately find themselves, frankly, being potentially liquidated down the road. So let's get rid of that cost disadvantage. And I think the reason that Republican senators stood up, and by the way, business executives like Jack Welch stood up and said, you know what, this may require bankruptcy, or something like a very powerful czar that could step in and change those contracts, change some of those burdens, get the cost down. If you do those things, we can make these companies competitive long-term. They can be successful. They can beat back Toyota, Honda, and Nissan, making cars right here in the U.S. at a $2,000 cost advantage they have. We've got to make sure.
You want to respond to that quickly?
Let me just jump in quickly, because one of the reasons why there is a cost disadvantage is because other countries provide health care for their citizens. In America, we put that entire burden on business. Lee Scott's on this in this conversation. He has come to the National Governors Association and said, if you want to make us competitive, let's have a uniquely American solution to the cost of health care. That will significantly reduce that disparity between the U.S. and other countries in terms of competitiveness of the auto industry.
David, that's a nice point, except it doesn't relate to the companies from overseas that are making cars.
Entirely to the legacy costs.
That are making cars. Hold on just a moment. That are making cars right here in the U.S. The companies across the ocean have come here, made plants in the U.S. Nissan, Toyota, and Honda. They're able to make cars at $45 an hour labor cost plus benefits and legacy costs. Our cost is $73.
It is not. That has been totally debunked, Mitt Romney. Now you know that.
I'm sorry.
Because it's not.
I'm going to break in here because this debate will go on.
Labor cost
That's not
and legacy
accurate.
costs and benefits is $73.
This part of the debate is going to go on.